Hi,
Are we
Ethan. How
live?
are you?
Are we live?
I think we're
Is this
live.
thing on?
Yes, I think so.
How can we tell if this thing's on? Hang on, let me.
We have
This is our
everything
first
controlled. Don't
episode.
worry.
It's our
Let's
first
talk to our
episode,
production.
so we're kind of
Let's
like
talk to our
trial and
production team.
fire.
I
Oh,
think our production team has an answer for that.
I got a notification from YouTube, so I know we're live. Okay, we're definitely live. Because,
Yeah, of course. I know that, man. How are
great.
you?
Well, good, man. Good, good. So I suppose before we get started, we should probably kind of like tell people what this is, what's going on right now, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. So first thing, I think it's important to say who we are and why. What was the conversation that brought us here? This is not absolutely prepared. This part of a podcast. This is very spontaneous. So basically, what we have to say is that Ethan and I work in the same company, and we're having a lot of conversations related to AI from a while since a time ago. So uh, we started to discuss how AI, and we have seen how AI has this important, enormous um, impact in our daily life, in our work, and we are envisioning a lot of changes as well. So we were discussing like, okay, in which fields is AI changing a lot of things? In which fields that affect anyone in life? So we started speaking, and we believe that financing is one of those things where everyone is basically affected. So I think that was the first conversation we had related to this podcast. Now, so
You must
in
you
a
must
in
have
an
listened
abstract,
to me.
using
I,
your
I cannot remember first conversations of anything. But people who know me know that I'm notorious that my memory is just terrible. So I'm always impressed.
okay, but for those lapses in memory, we have a great purpose in this podcast. Maybe you have a lot of experience, many things. I have,
Do
some
you?
other experience, but we have ChatGPT as part of our conversation. So this is like a conversation of two guys who want to speaking about finance, about artificial intelligence, but has like a genius in the room for asking the most difficult questions.
I
So
mean, it wouldn't be
Ethan,
fair otherwise. Like, how can we talk about artificial intelligence without having artificial intelligence have their
yeah,
opinion in the conversation?
perfect. Yeah, I agree with you completely. So I have a question for you. Can you talk me a little bit about yourself? What's your story? Tell me, introduce yourself for the people who is listening to us.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Ethan, and as Hugo said, we work together, and we're both technology enthusiasts. I've been working in the technology field for I don't know. I lost track of when I stopped saying over a decade ago. So it's somewhere above north of that, but lower than 20. So I don't know, somewhere in between. And I love tinkering with things, and I love being able to automate things. That's kind of why I've gone to work for the companies and done the kind of work I've done, is because it's always around improving and optimizing and creating value and efficiency. I started out my career as a full stack software developer. I wrote front end code, back end code, sysadmin. I also was a it was a small, tiny place. I mean, it was very good. In case Lawrence is listening, but I owe him everything. But no, it was a small shop of 5-10 people, and I'm actually also a project manager, pre-sales, sales, like all in one, including the whole thing. So, which was actually an amazing way for me to start my career, because I started as a rounded. I wouldn't say well-rounded, but like with a rounded approach to software and technology and stuff. And so I did that for like 5 years, and then I've worked at Process Maker before this current stint. And in between that, I worked at TiVo, And there we were also doing similar purpose of, making it easier and more efficient for people to find the types of content and TV content or movie content that they want, whatever entertainment, uh, the best way they can. And that was actually where the first time where I really started to see how actually artificial intelligence and machine learning are more than just really buzzwords that we talk about, because we actually did that in practice. Not, and when I say we, I really mean the engineers there. I had nothing to do with that, to be clear. I did not do any of that great amazing stuff that TiVo has, which it really is. But I worked on their kind of like their TAM side, if you will. But we worked a lot with the AI and a lot with the AI, a lot with all the things that are people are now starting to hear about, like vector databases and all that. We were doing semantic similarity and with solar engines. I mean, people have been doing this for a long time. It's just now all these terms are becoming, I think, popular because people because of honestly because of ChatGPT, and somehow they managed to do the marketing. Because even honestly, LLMs, they have been here. Anyways, I'm going down a tangent. I'm supposed to be introducing myself. I apologize. I do this a lot, and if you're gonna listen to if we do this and you listen to us for a while, you'll get to know this about me, that I can just shoot off on a tangent. But I'm reeling
Yeah,
myself back in here. Okay, so that's me, and and so today I also have a YouTube channel, which this is being broadcasted on right now, and also on my Twitch channel. And I'm trying to kind of revamp that side as well. And but we're discussing about where the official place of our podcast will be. But we're definitely gonna, if you're listening to this, that will mean that we've already gotten to what I'm about to say, is putting it on all of the major podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, etc.
yeah,
And this is also, but we also want to have like the visual component in case you want to join us and chat with us live as well. We thought that would be cool, where we could all talk with ChatGPT together. So that's me, and I'll pass it back to you, to Hugo, because Hugo has also an incredible backstory. And I mean, if he thinks I'm even remotely technical, I mean, he is like a genius when it comes to numbers and education. The guys from was in Bloomberg. I mean, the guy is really the best of the best. So, but I'll let you talk about yourself.
I think that the only genius in this room is ChatGPT, man, that has all the answers. I'm just,
You know
and I
what?
has,
You're not wrong.
you know,
You're not
no, but
wrong.
man, my story is like I started being a trader. That was like the beginning of my finance trip in life. I started doing trading in a Colombian bank, basically mostly on foreign exchange and some assets, particularly assets of emerging markets, bonds particularly. So for many years, I was working in a bank doing that. There was a lot of learning from that experience, but one of the things that I see today that we didn't have in the moment in the past was a way to know, for example, to gather a lot of information that the financial markets provides on a minute by minute base that affect in gazillions of dollars the different assets that can be in the market, and how these tools that artificial intelligence and the new tools in technology can really do better than any human, because the not the amount of information is just gigantic. So that was my first approach to finance, and actually that was my career at the beginning of my career. And then after working many years in that bank, I changed. I moved to Bloomberg, which is basically technology for finance. I worked in Brazil. I am from Colombia originally, and I'm right now based at Colombia. But I worked in Brazil for 4 years, working for Bloomberg, and particularly also with the foreign exchange market. And then after that, I founded a company that is in education. So I kind of uh, started my career also working in education. I started being a professor in universities here at Columbia. And recently, we have actually, that's the place where we met together. Was I started working for a technological company as well, leading the education part. But for me, one of the key aspects that really drove me to work with Presberg, the company that we mentioned, is the fact that Presberg is uh, focusing lots of its efforts in technology. I think that that's super important as well. I think that if you want to serve the community, serve the country, serve the people, really finance is a really good place to do it. You know, if there's a possibility of improving everyone's life. So that's basically my story. I am really happy. Ethan and I have been working together for a year or something. We started working a project, and basically we have been speaking on a weekly basis, and this has been really interesting. I mean, I have learned a lot from Ethan related to these things about technologies. And in a particular moment, I think Ethan is also important we start speaking about AI in finance now. This is a really interesting moment to talk about AI, and particularly because of that reason you said before. Everyone, I mean, everyone. I live in a developing country, so I speak with a lot of people here in Colombia, but ChatGPT is just something mainstream. Everyone knows about ChatGPT, and has changed the way in which we relate to everything, right? Like with every technology, with many things. So for me, this is super interesting how we can uh, talk a little bit, actually talk to ChatGPT um, on how this can change our financial life. That's basically the purpose of this chat, no? Of this conversation, of this podcast.
Nice. I like how you segued that part. So, I think I could not agree more with what you said, man. And I think that the way the way ChatGPT went from in November, like think about it, like in November of 2022, ChatGPT 3.5 is effectively is what kind of went into what just happened here. uh let's
Go
so
ahead, go
let
ahead.
let okay, it's all good. You made me go crazy. Anyway, what was I saying? All right, um, so ChatGPT is a product built on. We'll get soon to like more about defining what AI is and stuff, but an LLM stands for large language model, LLM, and an LLM is what GPT models are, and so ChatGPT is a product based on the GPT model 3.5, which they have recently opened to the public as 3.5 Turbo or something like that, and they're now at ChatGPT 4.
But
But
I have a question. You know that I'm not a really tech savvy guy. So if you want, I mean, let's say that I want to teach my kids or your on what is exactly that. How would you just describe it in a really simple way?
in a really simple way, what an LLM is, it's basically a very smart auto complete search bar. It's like, you type in what you want it to do, and it's kind of like, I guess, like if you remember Star Trek, you type in what you want, and then you say, like, I want a burger, and boop, it pops out a burger, just somehow. I don't know. It's
Uh-huh.
like almost like black magic, almost
Yeah,
how the
that's
thing actually
impressive.
works.
Yeah, that's
But
impressive.
no,
That what I
it's not black.
understand from my perspective is like there's this gigantic technology that is able to learn from something enormous like the internet in 2021 or something like that. Like all things that
Yeah.
like all the information available on the web or something similar to that, or a large part of the information available on the web, and that is able to show you, to show you information related to that. So that's like, as you say, for me, it has been magic. I mean, just magic. The kind of things that we can ask to this. So if we apply this to finance,
But
uh,
hang on. I just wanted to finish that thought I was in the middle of. So, because
yeah,
I'm trying to. I was getting to a point, so I'll try and get there a little faster. Um, so
Go
the
ahead.
so it's just that so I was explaining what GPT was for a purpose though, because it's not like Chat GPT in November of 2022 all of a sudden was, this is a new thing that we has never before been seen. No, like GPT models and large language models like these have existed for years. And it's only because somehow I don't know. This is the black magic part that I really don't know is how it went so viral so fast, because within I think what they were saying, like 7 days, it went from like nothing to the like what 10 million subscribers or people accounts, like something obscene, like that's broke shattered all records. So that is really the actual, if that had not happened the way it did, I don't think that today people would be, I think it's changed the world the way that
Yeah,
however that
I agree.
happened. It just changed the
But
world, and now ever
you
since
know why?
everybody's all been saying all about ChatGPT and robots and AI, and so at this point, we're already. If you think of it as a timeline, I wish I would have thought to create like a graph like that. But if you had like a timeline of like from November till today in March, and we can do this for a future podcast, an idea. But like you have that timeline of what did the world look like then, and what does the world look like now? What is the world going to look like in 6 and 12 months from now? Because nothing really changed, but all of a sudden it did, because they announced this product and people started using it. And 6 months later, I mean, we've got an entire AI team now, and I doubt we would have our own dedicated AI team if we did not actually. I'm serious. If ChatGPT did not make this huge thing in November.
Yeah, no, man. I tell you why. I think that my experience is just great. I just because I just asked. I remember the first time I used it. I made a question. I was used to see Google's answers that were great. You saw a lot of announcements with relative relatively accurate answers, and then somehow you start seeing, yeah, thank you. And then you start saying something like, um ask a question, and it gives you a perfectly well written conversational answer. That's, I mean, a question that you didn't know. And I mean, really, a question that is really relevant, and you receive a relevant answer. That was magic, man. That's the reason for people like me to use it. So then the question is, then, for example, what is happening in terms of finance? Because the idea for us is like saying, like showing everyone how this can be useful for day by day financial decisions that everyone has to do, that has to make, because that basically every day you are subject to make financial decisions. You have to decide the best debt you have to make. You have to decide if if you have some savings, and you can have some investments. You have to decide which investments you need to make. What are the best stocks, things like that. So we were saying there are many places where artificial intelligence is having a great moment today. One of those is basically portfolio management. And I was telling you before, remember in those days in the past, where I used to work, uh, with a company, with a bank that had to made a lot of decisions related to portfolio. uh, the decision making process was very manual. There was a lot of information that people had to go and to analyze and to decide, and with that information make a decision. Many times those decisions had or involved the risk of having human errors, because of the amount of information the large amount of uh, manual movement with that information as well. use the information, pass it to Excel, then generate some graphics and things like that. So today, for portfolio management, for example, AI has a lot of alternatives, really interesting, that replace the work of many people and replace the errors that many people can make to gather information. No.
On that point, I just want to go on, if you don't mind humoring me, a little bit of a tangent here. Um, so did you ever watch the TV show Billions?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Of course, I love it.
Okay, okay, awesome, great. So I haven't seen like the last season or two because we kind of like just disabled a lot of our streaming services. So we signed up for a free trial for 7 days now to see like if whatever. Really, I was just dying to watch Billions. To be, if between you and me, I just really needed to watch Billions. I hadn't seen it in a while, and I decided to watch it from the beginning, from season one, episode one again. But I'm watching it though with the idea of our podcast in my mind, because could you imagine Bobby Axelrod? Well, let's just put it this way: we have our own Bobby Axelrod, and then some. Like all of them combined could not do what ChatGPT is able to do. And so I think that in terms of the things that we're seeing and all that, it's gonna get so wild so fast. And I bet you there's already things going on at places like Goldman Sachs and the really big banks that are doing the heavy volume, heavy transactions of the exchange. I know they've already
Oh,
had program. I know that they have programs that have almost crashed the market, and those are known. But this goes way beyond that, right? Because this also goes into accounting for so many other factors that a human analyst normally would perform. So I'm just watching and thinking, like, could you imagine, like, maybe the way that Bobby does it is he actually has his own private chat GPT. That's like the only way, like, it would make sense that like he could be so like amazing. And anyways, yeah, so it makes me think of that. So it's an interesting way to watch the show now.
yeah. I don't know completely. I mean, but the heavy lifting of all those decisions in the show, and there's a lot of ethical concerns as well in
Well,
that show particularly.
and so is
Yeah,
there an
well,
AI, and so is there an AI
yeah,
as well.
of course. But what with the heavy lifting was basically human. Now the difference is that we have you know these engines that are able to analyze a lot of information that are, I mean, that don't have the human error, uh, let's say, uh, bias, or the general human bias. So I remember, for example, in the days where I was a trader, um, uh, we used to make decisions based on technical analysis, which is basically the study of charts, you know. So
Right.
basically, it was like taking a chart of an asset, for example, a currency or a stock or whatever asset we want, and try to find patterns within the graph, you
Right.
know. And basically, patterns say basically, one, what is the trend that we're living now, and second, what is the more probable outcome or probable,
And
let's
it's
say,
not based
future
on
of.
nothing, right? It's based on previous data, right? It's not like it's out of nowhere.
Yes, exactly. It's basically based on the statistics that you have on the asset. You have all the information of previous negotiation of that asset. So I can't imagine what the impact in that area is now for artificial intelligence, where there's a lot of data of the past, and you don't need to have like your criteria to see the pattern. The pattern is there, and the computer just shows you to you
Well,
more easily.
I don't know if you've stayed up all up to date. It's so incredibly hard. I honestly, like, it is harder now, I believe, more than ever, to stay current with technology right now, and the pace at which it's moving. So I think, I don't know if it just came out over the weekend or a day or two before the weekend, but like it's still, I think, hot news about GPT, ChatGPT plugins. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I mean,
So
not
I
the
mean, you,
technical details,
well, but
but
it's
I know that, that it is able. I mean, that you can use ChatGPT in many applications. That's basically what I understand with, which is a
oh,
plugin,
it's way
right?
more than that. It's scary what people are gonna do. That's why it's an extremely limited alpha right now. But once that thing gets released, so basically in a nutshell, what it is, you tell it, this is what what I'm about, and here's a schema of APIs, basically. And chat, if you have it enabled, you've enabled it. They have a marketplace and a store and all that. If you have it enabled, so it's like part of your library that it gets filtered through the content of the models, so to speak, in a simple way. And so it'll go through and it'll say, like, um, the example they have is like, I need a recipe for dinner, and it'll connect to, I forget what service it was in their example. They got a recipe from their Wolf something, I think, maybe, or something. And anyways, and they got the recipe from there, and then they said, okay, I need to go shopping for for all the ingredients, or something, or some of the ingredients, and then it automatically made a call to Instacart's API to make the shopping list and make it all happen just from ChatGPT plugin. So that means that you're able to invoke an API into any application, and then, in other words, you can tell another system to do something. And once you're able to do that, I mean, you can go as hypothetical, like a skit. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's concerns on both sides, on the AI side too, because hypothetically, like, if the Pentagon wanted to use something like this for, you know, uh, um, offensive, defensive maneuvers, or whatever the term is escaping me at the moment. But it makes a decision right now. It's a preemptive launch, right? You know, of a nuclear, you never know. So that's where this stuff can start to get scary. Or in the context of finance, micro trading, or transactions, monitoring data, because the plugin can tell you, like, it can reach out to the APIs and do all sorts of crunch all sorts of numbers, and then run it through their own chat GPT models and spit things out. And I mean, the creativity that'll be unleashed out of this, it's like, to say it's to I think, to equate this to the California gold rush is like saying, like, it's it pales in comparison. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know what your
No,
thoughts
man.
are.
No, yeah. I mean, I just see the potential of having these tools in your site. I mean, like, for day by day, uh, problem solving of the day by day, on a day by day basis. I remember. I mean, I don't know if we can make a quick uh, prompt to ChatGPT asking for some examples of of places in finance where you can leverage artificial intelligence. I myself did a quick uh, a quick research here. I can show you real quick. And there are many places or many services where you can go and take advantage of artificial intelligence for your own, for your benefit. You know, for example, I was taking a look at this one at Wealthfront or Betterment, and those are basically places, services that advise you, about basically about any investment you can make. So my question, or I mean, like, the risk of that, imagine that uh, there's there's any ethical behavior or unethical behavior related to the information or the models that are showing you the best stocks, and you are trusting on these models for saying, for putting your money there. That can be one of the risks, similar to the one you just mentioned about the military example that you just gave. No,
And
interesting
you
as
know what's
well.
more worrisome about that is that you know that OpenAI is not a public company, right? It's a private company, and furthermore,
Private company.
it's basically controlled by Microsoft right now.
Uh-huh.
They invested like $10 billion or something, and it's that like they're basically calling all the shots there. That's scary when corporate companies that are not regulated have that kind of tech. That's I think where I just wanted to make sure that I don't know that kind of that's what worries me.
I was also thinking in services that you can find, like for example, these personal finance apps. So it's interesting to know that an AI application today can help you, showing where your money is going, and give you advices of, what are the leaks of your money that are not, allowing you to make investments to save money to be better. Or for example, places where you can find information related to uh, best alternatives for your debt, for your mortgage and things like that. Here there are some examples for investments as well. This is the most interesting application for me because I remember. I mean, I have been as an investor. I have invested in stocks in the U.S. for maybe I don't know, like probably 15 years or something like that. But I mean, finding the right investment, and the risk of those investments, and for example, in my case, I have been using also stock options for investing. So really being able to find the best investment without spending a lot of money in advisory or things like that is a really strong concern. Is a really interesting problem. And I think that AI, I was looking for, and there are these platforms that are here. This is the plain answer from ChatGPT. Basically, there are some places where you can go and receive ideas for investing, according to some criteria you have. For example, the fact that these companies should have an increment in the EPS of an X% in a period of X amount of years, or things that you want to have. So these alternatives show investments that can have this kind of behavior in the past. Uh, and now I particularly use one of these platforms for my trading. Those alternatives are available in the trading platforms that are available for investors like you and me. That's not something super
Well,
expensive
I don't know
as it used
about
to be.
that. I don't
I
know if I
mean,
agree
they
with
have,
that.
yeah, I agree with you. They may have, probably there's that cutting edge technology that is available for the big fishes, no? That is different to this one. But today,
I promise you whatever you want that there are things that Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all the big hedge funds and banks have that no one knows about that does things that you could not believe. I can guarantee it.
for sure. But what I can guarantee you with my experience is that today, let's say, the possibilities of finding good investments is, with lower cost, at least, to find like alternatives, or advisory or things like that, or analysis, is far less expensive than as it used to be. I don't
That's
know,
because
5
you're
years
not
ago.
thinking big enough. You have to think like Bobby Axelrod. If you don't have
I
it,
know.
no, I'm
I don't
serious.
want to be accent. I don't know if you did you watch the last episode of the series,
No, no,
man?
and don't ruin it for me. I haven't seen the last season or two.
No,
Okay.
I must because it doesn't end very good for
Okay,
Axel,
but
man.
so let's pretend like we're in the timeline where that hasn't happened yet. Okay. So, but
Okay,
my
okay.
point my point is only that by manufacturing the opportunity is how you can successfully guarantee that you're gonna thrive. And I think that that's what I mean. I know this is borderline conspiracy theory at this point, but
Yeah.
I mean I think like I recognize that, but I do still think that that's definitely happening. But anyways,
Oh, look at the last alternative. scoring. For example, there's this recommendation from ChatGPT actually, that is Credit Karma or Credit Sesame. I don't know if you know any of those services. Do you?
Yeah, here in the States, Credit Karma is really big. It's
Uh-huh.
I think it's a good thing for because a lot of people are really don't know anything about their credit score, and in the United States, your credit score it can mean the difference between literally between having where to sleep at night. I can tell a quick story about myself personally. When I lived abroad for a number of years, and I came back and when I came back, we didn't have I didn't have a credit score at all. Like I wasn't even in the system. I never owned a credit card, never had a bank account, and so I didn't. I had a zero credit score, which is unheard of, for normal people that live here. And so when people tried to run my credit score, it just errored. Like nothing came out. NA, and like this guy can't be like he's a ghost. So we couldn't find where to sleep for. We had to sleep in a hotel for the first couple nights, and nobody would even. We had a whole story about how we got our whole apartment and everything. The bottom line is credit score in this country is more than important. It's crazy how big a thing your credit score can be. So my point is that I didn't know anything about credit scores or any of this stuff, and I had to learn it the hard way, by googling and researching and talking to people, a lot of financial experts people talk to as well to figure out it all out. So if there was something out there to help, that would have been really awesome. Like and I mean, I guess there might have been, but I wasn't aware of it. But that's what Credit Karma is good for, because when you know what are the things that are going to impact your credit for in a negative way or in a positive way, then obviously you want to do more and less of each. So Credit Karma is a free service, and it also here in the States, most banks they also provide that service as well, where they also give you, a credit score. Like for example, Capital One does Credit Advantage, I think it's called, or something, or Credit Wise or something like that, where they do the same thing and they analyze it. And especially when you use like for example, if you use a lot of their, like some people they charge everything the same credit card to rack up points and stuff. So it'll actually use your data and say like, hey, well, if you spend less on going out by X amount because it has your data, and now think about the application of that after the credit scoring. My brain just going to the AI naturally now, because data, right? Once you have the credit score from the three major bureaus, and you're talking about, what value is Capital One bringing that I should be banking with them? Well, they're bringing the value of all this insight that they have into my transactions. Okay, and what are they doing with that data? Well, they're using it in how to help make my life better and make more money for everybody, and kumbaya. So the AI is just gonna keep coming up everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, man. This is our first episode that we wanted to, to know how this goes on. I think that this is a really relevant topic. We also wanted to have invited our GPT. I would like to know, like a particular, advice from ChatGPT or something related in terms of improving my financial life. I think that that's basically how this can be helpful. For example, how artificial intelligence can help me improving my debt, like debt expenditure or my mortgage expense, things like that. I don't know what ChatGPT should say about that. What do you think?
So just to be clear, are you saying you want to ask it about debt?
Yeah, I was reading the other time that that's,
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a house, for example, and a car, and you have some debt over those assets, basically a high percentage of your income is spent in in interest rates and expenses associated to those assets, and to the fact that those assets are financed by a bank with a mortgage or other types of debt. So I am just curious. I don't know the answer for this. It's a legitimate question. Is there a way in which AI or any AI powered service can help me improving the expenses or the the money that I spend in interest rates or mortgage expenses or things associated with debt, so that I can manage better my debt. That's one of the key aspects of finance. No?
Let's say we wanted to ask ChatGPT, how can
Yeah, this
artificial
is very important, no? The prompt engineering. So what's the best
yeah,
prompt to ask?
that's why I did a little bit of discovery with you just to figure out how we wanted to phrase it. So let's see. So how can artificial intelligence and chat GPT types of products that are based on large language models and machine learning help your average person like me with uh with their, let's say, their with I have a good idea. Okay, help your average person like me, considering what the national average is in America for credit card debt.
Okay,
Does that sound like a good one?
sounds like a good one. We can ask also about the mortgage, but credit card is also a huge component of that. So I agree
Which
with
do you
that prompt.
prefer, mortgage or credit card? Either one.
I don't know. I think that
Do
mortgage
both.
can be higher, like a higher
Let's do both.
expense.
Let's do both and see if it gives
Oh
different
yeah,
angles or different
go with
answers. Okay, so let's see. First, we'll do the mortgage. So averages in for America for considering what the national average is in America for uh, mortgages. If you even understand what I mean by that. So let's see. Artificial intelligence and language models like ChatGPT can help the average person in many ways when it comes to. Okay, I think in the future, prompts, I'm gonna limit it to characters because otherwise it'll give us these massively long answers. So why don't I
Uh-huh.
actually try this one more time and instead of ChatGPT 3.5, let's actually do it in ChatGPT 4, which is the latest model because I forgot I wasn't even using that one. So
Yeah,
um, limit the response. So if Twitter is like what, 200 characters, so let's say
140.
1,000. What?
140. Twitter has 140 characters, I
All right,
think.
so let's say 1,000 characters is the response. All right.
Okay.
So limit. And we can always change it. Limit it. So limit the response to 1,000 characters. All right. AI and ChatGPT like products can assist the average person in navigating the complex world of mortgages by providing tailored information and recommendations. Here's how: mortgage research. These tools can help you understand mortgage types, fixed, adjustable, etc., terms, and interest rates. Wow, this is 1,000 characters. Okay, I'm gonna make it shorter next time. So basically, the bullet points are it can help with mortgage research, comparing offers, affordability calculators, credit score improve. This is wrong. This does not make any sense.
Why not?
I Because I mean, how did I don't know how does ChatGPT help me with credit score improvement? ChatGPT can provide personalized suggestions to improve your credit score and increase your chance
Yeah.
of qualifying. Okay, well, but
But,
how?
but I the type one, for example, the fact that it can tell you where's the best place, with actual information, like with today's information, if it's possible, it would be super useful. Because basically 1 percentage point of interest rate, of difference in interest rates between one alternative to the other in mortgages is a lot of money in 30 years or something. That is a mortgage. So
You know
I would
what I'm
say,
thinking? Yeah,
yeah,
good.
you're thinking,
Okay, I was just gonna say that if I'm thinking about this today, as with ChatGPT plugins in mind, actually
Right.
every single one of these is extremely applicable. Monitoring rates, we literally just talked about monitoring the stock market. Credit score improvements, yeah. If let's say, I already talked about Bank One. Let's say, Fidelity releases something, where they can help you with your credit score. You're going to want to use them because they've got large language models that are interpreted. So, like, once you add that part where you can say to ChatGPT, "I'm shopping for a house," and so a bank could have an advertisement even. Wow, this is starting to blow my mind. Like with these plugins to surface content to people, because that's really what it's at the end of the day, right? You're surfacing content to somebody to solve a problem or something like that. So, anyways, my point is, like, all these things, if you think about with plugins in mind, they're actually all of a sudden highly relevant. So maybe it is a good answer.
Okay, man. Okay, I think that we're really a little bit up close to our time. I think this has been a really interesting experience. Ethan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I just it was definitely it's been real, man, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I'll be talking to you tomorrow, I know.
Okay.
uh, and just before we wrap up, though, do you have any plugs or any kind of links or books or anything that you would recommend for people that are interested about, AI, finance, business? Doesn't have to be tied all together. It could be any of them separately or combined.
Me, I personally, my most important challenge has been how can I know? I mean, how can I really limit? There are more than 10,000 stocks or something like that in the US, man. So no, being able to understand what are the stocks that are like similar to you. I mean, like what with your objectives, what with what you have in mind, or what you need. Uh, that's basically my main challenge and what is most interesting for me to solve. I have been using Ameritrade, TD Ameritrade platform for trading for many years, and I am really happy with it. I mean, like, I really like it in terms of the kind of insight that I can have, and it is basically in return of your money there. I mean, you don't have to pay anything as more for the analytics that you receive from them for Thinkorswim. So we don't have any kind of advertisement from them or something, but that's a place where I like really to have to go to have my analysis for stock investment. Um, yeah, basically that would be my only recommendation or my only advice,
And
and
to be
then
clear, we are welcoming anyone that want any sponsorships. This podcast is
so
good for business.
yeah,
My plug
okay,
would be it would have to be ChatGPT, of course, since it's our first podcast, and that just had to be done. So but more specifically, I think if you're a bit of a nerd and you don't mind getting your hands just a little bit dirty with a little bit of Python, then I highly encourage you to check out David Shapiro's YouTube channel. If we can figure out how to get this on to, if you're hearing this on Spotify or Apple, you'll hopefully have a link to his channel in the description, as well as to Hugo, his plug as well. So I guess that wraps it up for today, and give us a like and subscribe on and comment and let us know if this was interesting. If it was, let us know. If it wasn't, also let us know. We would love all kinds of feedback, just so we can, we want to, if this is interesting and valuable to people, we want to be able to help in a meaningful way. So I guess that's it, and thanks and good night.
good night. Ciao.